Welcome back to Modern Day Disciples.
AKA MDD, the podcast where we hear real stories from modern day disciples.
My name is Kevin Bernaga. I'm the youth minister at St. Francis of Assisi Parish in San Jose, California.
And my name is Ana Fuentes. I'm the youth minister at St. Anthony's Parish in San Jose, California.
What's up, my dude?
Let's go. We are back.
It's been a few weeks.
We don't have a consistent schedule, if you haven't noticed.
And things are starting to pick up, so
yeah,
it's a little hard.
Just an FYI, if we wanted to be posting every 2 weeks, and the reason that kind of gets delayed sometimes is because things are really picking up ministry-wise.
Seriously, compared to a year ago?
Dude, a year ago we were doing
comparable.
Nothing.
Exactly. So now I'm like doing the simplest things it's just so exhausting.
It's draining. Anyone else feel that? Like this, the energy we had pre-COVID is just non-existent anymore. It's like we're learning to do things over again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we don't have the same capacity to do things as we used to. So it's like we're trying to do more and have less energy than we've ever had before.
Exactly. I feel like I have to build up my endurance, just to do ministry. What is that? Never thought.
Ministry stamina.
Crazy.
Talking about that this week on MDD.
My gosh, that'd be a great episode.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, how is everyone actually doing? Yeah. Because sometimes, if I'm being honest, like this week was a tough week. I felt like I just got by.
So let's go into that. How was your week?
Oh, are we going to talk about the sad stuff? Or
the sad stuff?
No, it was just a tough week. Mentally, emotionally, I feel like I've been going through it the past few weeks. And we were actually talking about, just before this podcast started, that we want to get back to our roots. And we were laughing about it.
Dude, we got to get back to why we started.
We got to get back to our roots, bro.
Oh my goodness.
And we were laughing about it because we sound like those stereotypical creators, influencers that are like, we got to remember why we started. We got to remember why we did this.
But we really do.
We really do. I feel like just being candid with you guys, is that we're trying really hard this season. And like, obviously we have video now. If you guys could see the behind the scenes, it's a studio setup. We're not kidding when we say that. And so we're trying really hard, but I think sometimes we can overthink it. And so what we want to do is just get back to our roots and remember truly why we started doing this, and just share stories, share authentic stories. And so but yeah, just to be honest with you guys, it has been a pretty rough few weeks, but there were some good things. Okay. Should I share the Mother's Day story?
Yes, they would love that story.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I tweeted this, that I gaslit my mom into thinking I wouldn't come home for Mother's Day, and then surprised her. and then I actually told one of my teens this, and he was like, "You gaslit your mom?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, it sounds bad." And he was like, "Well, don't use the word gaslit." And then I explained the story. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you actually gaslit your mom." Okay, so what happened was my mom had called me Mother's Day Sunday. So Friday she calls me, and I'm half asleep. Yeah. And she calls me and she's like, "Don't come home for Mother's Day." And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like literally still in bed. And she's like, no, don't come home for Mother's Day. And I was like, why? She's like, I came there for your birthday. I just saw you. I don't want you to have to do the drive. And I was like, Mom, what are you talking about? Like, I'm sleeping. And I literally, like, the phone call ended there. And so I'm still planning on going down. I'm the next day, Saturday, I'm driving down, and my mom has my location. And so I turn my location off. Okay. And so I was like, oh, like she's gonna see it. And then I get to Bakersfield, and I stop at a grocery store to get flowers. The flowers are crap there. Go to a different grocery store. Nice. Getting the flowers, I can't decide which flowers. She calls me while I'm in line checking out. I ignore the call, obviously. And then I drive to my house, which is 5 minutes from this grocery store. I'm in the driveway. I call her back. And I'm like, hey, Mom, like, what's up? And she's like, where are you? Like, I saw your location. What? You were in Lost Hills. Like, you were on your way. Like, why aren't you here yet? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I saw your location. Like, I know you're coming to Bakersfield. And I was like, no. I'm going to Southern California.
Oh, so she checked it before you turned it off.
Yeah, she checked it before. I wasn't in Bakersfield yet when she was still checking it. Yeah. And my sister was in Irvine, actually. She was visiting some friends. I was like, oh, no. I'm visiting Jelly. I'm going to go see Jelly in Irvine. She was like, Annalisa, are you serious? Aww. She was pissed. Because she's like, you're going to drive down here anyways? Yeah, she was like, and you didn't stop to see me?
my gosh.
Okay, he met my mom, and now he's like his heart's
auntie.
hurting. His heart's hurting for her. But then, like, literally as I was saying, I was like, no, I'm going down to Southern Cal. She's like, are you serious? And then I opened the front door, and then she was like, Aunt Lisa, and then like I literally like had flowers behind my back, and like I had her favorite candy bar, and I was like, did you actually think that I wasn't gonna come down?
That's so funny.
And she was like, I believed you because like you should have been here. We estimated you'd be 45 minutes, and then you weren't here.
Wow.
But she was really happy that I was there, and it was Mother's Day is always really, really nice.
Of course.
Yeah. How was your
awesome.
week? How was your week?
My week was good. There's a lot of things that happened, a lot of meetings. Some things are underway in terms of like
things we can't talk about yet.
Exactly, but
they're exciting.
Meetings are great, but one specific thing that happened actually just yesterday. So in my neighborhood, we have the Ring doorbell and all the cameras around our house, and we always get those notifications. So I'm sitting in my room, and I get a notification, and so I opened it, and I see this guy at my front door, and literally he just takes my shoes from my front door that are just out there. They're Allbirds, Bay Area. So I grabbed.
Wait, he just takes one pair of shoes?
Yeah, he takes one pair of shoes, my running shoes. They're used. I've had them for about a year, and so I see him take it, and then he bounces, right? He goes through my yard. And so instinctively I'm like, no, not today. If you know me, I have had a lot of bad luck with things getting stolen, breaking into my car and this and that.
Cameras.
So stealing something from me, it hits home. It hits hard.
You're
a little bit.
We've been through this already.
Yeah, it just flashes me back to every single time, and I'm like, no, not today. So I grab my keys, I run into my car, and I just start circling the neighborhood, trying to be a secret agent or something. I don't know, a cop, whatever. And
cue the dramatic music.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm like, I'm gonna find this guy and I'm gonna get my shoes back. So I actually find him.
Bold choice, bro. I will say, bold choice.
So I find him, and he's walking across the park in my neighborhood. And so I'm driving around, and when I see him holding my shoes. I'm like, I got you, dude. Red-handed. It's done. And so I call the police. I call 911, and I'm like, I have this guy. I watch a lot of sometimes police videos. So I talk how they talk, if that makes sense. So I'm like, he's going eastbound on blah, blah, blah. He's a blah, blah male, this build, just giving them every detail. And they're like, whoa, hold on, slow down. What's going on?
What cop show is this?
Exactly. I'm like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm following the guy. I have him in my sights. You need to get here immediately. He has my shoes, right? And they're like, yeah, we need you to stand down, and we need you to go back to your house because it could be dangerous. And I'm like, but I see him, he has my stuff. I see him. He's going to get away.
Dude.
But they're like, no, it's for your safety. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go back home. And then I eventually get a phone call from the office or the police force again, and they confirm my description, and they alerted the patrol cars in my area just to keep a lookout on it. But he said, I know it's frustrating, but you don't know how many times we've gotten a call like that. And for something so simple like shoes or an umbrella off a front porch, people have gotten shot or stabbed or led into a place where they get jumped.
Yeah.
So they're like, we just wanted to make sure you didn't lose your life or get hurt over a pair of shoes. And I said, yeah, I get it. That totally makes sense. But still sucked. But thinking about it later, I prayed about it the whole day because at first I was so mad.
It makes sense.
But then I realized, we've left our shoes outside, our doors.
It's like a shoe rack?
Yeah, it's a shoe rack right outside. Just because, all my life, it's just been a tradition. And it's never been a problem. But there's been a lot of expensive, other shoes out there. My dad's hiking shoes are out there, and all these different brands, but he literally just took one from the top. And so I'm like, maybe I don't know his story, I don't know what's going on, but I'm very blessed to be able to say I have all these shoes.
That's true.
Maybe he needed it more than I did, and so I kind of changed my perspective on it and started thinking, maybe this is a gift for him instead. And those shoes have different colors now, so I'm
gonna have the latest model now.
Exactly. So it's an excuse to maybe look into more shoes. But I just prayed for the guy and just hope that he's okay and that the shoes fit him and that he can use them well. So yeah, that's my little highlight.
I feel like I would feel very similar. I will say I love shoes. People know that I love shoes, and so my first instinct would be to follow him as well.
Yeah.
But it's it's so tough because I just definitely see like why they were saying like you just never know what someone has on them, and
Exactly.
it's just best not to lose your life over a pair of shoes. Like
Yeah.
you just never know.
So yeah, that was a low light turned into a highlight of my week.
Nice.
Do you want to lead us in prayer to start the episode?
I will. This is my
Yes.
first time leading in prayer, guys. For those that watched our first episode, we decided to do rock, paper, scissors, and whoever wins gets to pray on
Yeah.
our podcast. I won for the first time this season, so I'm praying. Let us center ourselves. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. Come, Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for this mission that you have given us to minister to the young people in the Diocese of San Jose and beyond. We thank you for this opportunity to share real stories that come from the heart. Whether or not they're difficult to talk about, Lord, you always give us the courage and the strength to be vulnerable with one another. Lord, we pray that you allow us to go back to our roots and to authentically share real stories from modern day disciples. And that these stories, as with the stories of your disciples during your time on earth, Lord, that they're always going to connect. They're always going to reach hearts and transform hearts, Lord. We pray in a special way for our speaker this week. We pray that she may be a light to others, Lord, that she may have the courage to speak from her heart, have the courage to share her story authentically, the tough parts, the victories, the glory stories, and everything in between, Lord. We thank you for this ministry, and we pray for all of our listeners. We pray for all of our audience in the past and those who will listen in the future. We love you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Amen. Drop that beat, though. And we're back with season 3, episode 4 now.
Let's go. Season 3.
Making our way, man. through this
Trinity
episode.
season. I love this season, by
I
the way.
do too. I think every single person that we haven't had a single guest, like a single individual
Since the first episode.
And isn't that a blessing? Like being able to interview like different like pairings and couples and
this
crazy.
one I'm particularly stoked about because
definitely.
she's actually been on our list as a potential guest since
season 1, right?
season 1.
Yeah.
Season
Season 1?
Well, it was March 2020 at least.
Okay, yes.
At least. Because no, actually it was season 1 because
Like the tail end of it. or
Yeah,
something.
definitely. Because this person, I met them through ministry, and they were actually not local to San Jose. And I kept on telling Kev, I was like, yo, when this person gets back, we need to interview them for the podcast. And, you know, stars aligned, COVID happened. And
Yes. And they're back.
and they're back. But they're actually leaving again. So it's a good thing we're interviewing them during this time.
Absolutely.
Shall we jump into it? Shall we introduce them?
Yes. So for season 3, episode 4, we have Francie Keller.
Hello. I'm so excited.
We're excited to have you.
Dude, it is such a blessing to have you on the podcast.
Seriously.
So we want to officially introduce her, tell you a little bit about Francie.
Yes. So Francie has been doing youth ministry for about 6 years now, since 2015.
And she also spent a year as a net missionary in the Midwest. So that was 2019, 2020, correct?
Yes.
Francie also attends St. Nicholas St. William Parish in Los Altos.
Yes.
So what do you currently teach catechism there?
I actually just had my last class that I was teaching 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Oh, what were you
So
teaching?
I was teaching faith formation to the 3rd through 5th graders
Ooh.
over Zoom.
Nice.
How was that?
Just a whirlwind of emotion. It was, I'm studying education, and so it's great to just get more experience teaching. And I also just love kids, but teaching over Zoom, even just once a week for an hour, is so difficult.
Oh, it's especially with that age level. I imagine it would be difficult to hold attention spans.
Yeah, for the most part, they were really good at listening, though. they kind of had to warm up to it a little bit. Because a lot of times when it comes to Sunday school, a lot of them don't want to be there.
Yeah.
First class, I had one of them like typing in the chat time checks, being like 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, sir,
We know the time.
thank you for that confidence boost. I knew I was doing well.
Oh my gosh.
But he eventually like totally warmed up and would like actually tell me what the best part of his week was.
Nice.
So it was a joy, and it was a great way to be able to still be interacting with kids, but in a safe way during COVID, because it's just so much harder to do that right now. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's amazing that you were able to jump into that after the year that you had with being a net missionary. So before we get into all that, because we do want to dive into all that, we have some fun facts.
Okay,
That
yes.
we gathered some information, some intel.
Oh no.
We may or may not have hit up a few friends of yours. Also, your brother never responded, so we didn't get anything from him.
Which one? I mean, none of them respond, but
Henry.
Yeah,
We reached
okay.
out to Henry.
yeah, that's fair.
All right, so we have some things to share about you. So we actually, should we talk about how we met, Francie?
Yeah, I think that'd be great first, just so we have a idea.
When did you meet Francie?
I don't know.
I'm going to be
But
honest with you, Kevin. I don't know
I
either.
think we just met randomly, and then we just started talking and working together, and then
Yeah.
that's...
I'm glad it's a mutual not knowing, because it's always awkward when one person remembers and the other doesn't. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, I had no impression on
I think
you.
eventually we were just like, hi, I'm Francie, I'm Kevin.
Yeah,
and
I
then-
think it was one of those things where the first time we were in the same room, we never really introduced ourselves. And so it just kind of came to a point where we were like, we know each other.
Yeah, like we never
Yeah.
formed... Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Francie.
Nice to meet you. No, but we've worked together like a lot, so
Yeah.
it's pretty great.
I think the first time I met Francie was DYR 2019.
Yes.
And we shared a love for film photography, and I remember we were like kind of the only ones probably on that retreat with film cameras. We were like, oh, yo, what's up? And then summer 2019, we hung out some, and then we got matching Crocs. Oh, I wish I had a photo.
Correct.
I will probably send it to you.
Send it to me.
Yeah.
Send it to
I
you so
gotcha.
you can see it in post. We got matching Crocs, we hung out, and then MSDYR, we actually roomed together.
Yes.
MSDYR 2019?
Yes.
2019,
And we
yeah.
wore our
Wow.
Crocs every day.
Oh, dude, it was
We
such
committed
a vibe.
to it.
It was, dude, they were fresh. Those were the freshest my white Crocs have ever looked. They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
look the same now.
Yeah. And we earned the respect of a lot of middle schoolers.
Dude, they
Really?
respected the Crocs. Gotta be honest.
They did.
They
Wow.
respected that Croc life.
Oh.
If you ain't crocking,
You ain't rocking.
and that's what's up. Kev's like, what did I walk into? Speaking of being on a retreat with you, this is something I heard from another friend, but I also remember experiencing it myself. I don't know if this is the first fun fact we should jump into.
What?
You have
Sorry, it just hit me. I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I have no idea what it is.
Francie has sleep apnea.
I know a lot of people have sleep apnea.
Hit me where it hurts.
So this was shared by a friend of hers and was also kind of a similar experience that I had. Can I even read this?
Yes, I'll read it for you. So, one of our fun facts that we have written down is she has sleep apnea. So when we share a room on retreats or something, she snores or doesn't breathe.
I'm crying.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so in high school, it was always like a running joke with my friends that I was always tired. Like, just that was my go-to like conversation starter, was just being like, I'm so tired. And they'd be like, well, when are you not? And so finally, because both of my parents have sleep apnea, I went to the doctor and was like, hey, I can't function. And so I got tested, and so I have sleep apnea, which the way it was explained to me was when I fall asleep, my brain is given two options. I either stop breathing and wake myself up all the time in order to continue breathing,
Yes. very
or
important.
I just stop breathing and don't wake myself up and die.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was how this doctor explained it to like sophomore year me.
That's terrifying.
And well, it made sense.
He wasn't
Very
wrong.
simple explanation.
My goodness.
And so yeah, I have been told that it sounds like I'm choking in my sleep a good amount of the time. I tried the CPAP thing where it makes you look like a snuffleupagus. I would just rip it off.
In your sleep.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Gotcha.
So then I got this like big mouthpiece thing.
Oh, okay.
That when I was in training for my mission year, my roommates lovingly called my dentures.
Oh, nice.
Alright.
They're horrible looking things. They're huge.
Do they work?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's hard to fall asleep with like a giant apparatus in your mouth.
It makes sense.
And then moving forward, I found out I had a deviated septum. So that was a big contributor to that. And so Christmas 2019, I got a septoplasty to fix my nose, and that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
But I do also talk in my sleep.
Oh.
And move around quite a bit. So I'm a horrible roommate to have.
I would
Just
say it
terrible.
was very endearing. I would come back late to the room and it was either snoring or I did hear you speak in your sleep. It was just very soft though. It was almost like whisper.
It's just like going off on someone.
But it was you were a joy to have as a roommate at MSDYR. Let's
Thank you for sharing all of that. I feel like
of
all our
course.
audience is going to get to know
Of
you
course.
very personally.
Yeah, for sure.
The first thing we invite her onto the podcast and then we roast her for
Tell
having
us about your
sleep
health
apnea.
problems.
It's a fun fact.
Exactly.
Dive into your medical history.
Another fun fact that we found out is that we mentioned it before, but you enjoy film, like shooting on film.
Yeah.
Especially you shoot on Leica.
My Leica's gone. I lost it during my mission year, which was devastating because those cameras are so nice.
Yeah.
It was a graduation present for my dad. It was a camera that he had gotten in grad school.
Wow.
And when I was on my mission year, we traveled in a van, and our van was very messy. And so every once in a while, someone, it varied, would reach a certain point where they were like, this van is disgusting, and just like throw away everything in it.
Oh no.
And so I think it got thrown away, which was absolutely devastating.
That's so sad.
Because I loved that camera.
I'm so sorry.
For those that don't know about film photography, Leica cameras are like the Lamborghinis of
A
film
Yeah,
cameras.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like absolutely like top tier. Like it's like, oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very sad about it.
What is it about film photography that you enjoy?
So I took a film class my senior year in high school and absolutely loved it. I have never thought of myself as an artistic person just because I'm not good at like drawing or painting, like the traditional things you think of when you think
Okay.
of art.
No, I know what you mean.
And so I had a very narrow-minded like view of what art is, which is like the opposite point of art.
yeah.
So, and then I took this film class, and I love the intentionality behind film because it's, you can pick up your phone and take a bunch of pictures. Then you kind of like look through them, and then you're like, okay, I guess that one's okay. But with film, it's like you have one shot, unless you want to spend like $30 to get one picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I kind of like the waiting game of it,
You don't know exactly what you got.
Yeah.
and
There's
how
an
it turned out.
intentionality behind
Yeah.
it too.
Oh, for
Absolutely.
sure.
And like the expectation or like things. What do you call it? It's not anxiety, but it's kind of like
The anticipation
anticipation.
of it.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
Also-
like scrolling through it.
What I love about film photography as well is that it captures the essence of a moment. I'm sounding like such a film nerd right now, but it captures the essence of a moment so much better because when you take digital photography, whether it's on your phone or a digital camera, you're immediately critiquing it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, this doesn't look
Yeah.
right. I don't look good here. I should do this angle. Like you critique it to the point where you hate the image.
Yeah.
Whereas with film, it's like, well, it's good or it's not, but like it captures what was truly felt in that moment.
Yeah.
And so I actually, when Francie and I first met that summer, she gifted me a film camera.
That's right. I remember you were so excited.
She
and you were
was
like,
like,
in
I was-
disbelief.
I was in disbelief. Like, Can I just say that Francie is one of the most generous people. She had just met me, by the way. We had met like a couple months before this. We talked about our love of photography, specifically film photography. And I was telling her how I didn't have a film camera. And she's like, oh, I have an extra I can give you. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean?
She's kidding. Yeah. Like, that's not true.
And I was like, okay, like, I mean, are you sure? And she was like, yeah. She brought it and she just gave it to me. Like, gave it to me. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be so shocked at the generosity, but like, you don't really come across that nowadays where someone like, I mean, film cameras are expensive and like they're very trendy right now. And she was like, yeah, I don't use it anymore. Like, here, like, just have it. And like, it meant so much to me. I was like, wow, this girl is so generous and kind. And I was like, I want to hang out with her more. Not because she gives me gifts, but because she's a great person.
Can you tell that giving gifts is my top love language? It's like way higher than anything else.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So is that how you like showing love or how you like receiving love as well?
I'm terrible at getting gifts.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm so bad at it. But I love giving them. I already have the birthday gift for my best friend lined up. Her birthday's in August. But I just like figure out what, like when I figure out like the perfect gift for someone, I get so excited.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
But I am so bad at receiving gifts.
Do you get awkward?
I get super awkward. I like, even as a child at like birthday parties, you know how you always want to get to the point where you're opening your gifts?
Yeah.
I hated that because I was never good at like faking emotion. And so if I wasn't as excited about something,
you gotta pretend you like it no matter what.
Yeah. And that's so much pressure for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
You're like, Mom, this is my birthday party. Why is it riddled with anxiety?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, thanks.
An avocado.
It's an avocado.
I would have been pumped for an avocado as a kid. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So you also recently, semi-recently, maybe for a while, you work at Trader Joe's.
I do.
How long have you been working there?
I think it's going on 7 months now.
Wow.
I've only known it in COVID though. So that's really fascinating.
So do you have any fun Trader Joe's work stories that you can share without getting fired?
They don't really care that much, I don't think. Oh boy, I'm trying to think of one. I absolutely love every time a kid comes through my line because at Trader Joe's, if people don't know this, I feel like a lot of people do. Maybe because I grew up going to Trader Joe's as a child. If you ask for stickers, we'll give you stickers.
What?
We have like, you didn't
I had
know
no
that?
idea.
I don't know if you can see it. I left my heart at Trader Joe's.
Oh.
That was one of them for Valentine's Day. But yeah, we give kids stickers like every time they come through the line. And I actually had a coworker, I was bagging for him. I had just come up to bag. And there were kids, and he turned to me and was like, do you want to give the stickers? Because I know you like doing that. And I was like, yes, please. And so I was like, would you guys like some stickers? And they were like, yeah.
Oh.
But then every once in a while, you'll have a kid stare at you like, oh my gosh, I can't say no to this random person.
Oh.
Like they don't want the stickers, but they feel this obligation to this random Trader Joe's
It sounds
worker.
like you as an 8-year-old.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so I always tell them, I'm always like, you can say no, it won't hurt my feelings. And then they'll be like, no, thank you. And I'm like, okay, have a great day. Like, go ahead. But a fun story is, so if you've ever been in a grocery store and seen the section with like the milk and the yogurt and stuff, I don't know if everyone's noticed this, but there's a person behind that normally.
Yeah.
And how you stock those things is there's the milk box behind it, and you push things from the back.
Yeah.
I know, as a child, when I discovered that, I was like, how do they get back there?
Secret compartment.
I love being in the milk box. Besides it being super cold, it's not, because no one's really like bothering you back there. You can kind of put your headphones in and do your thing.
Okay.
And but occasionally you'll push something forward and it'll hit something else and fall, or you just push it too hard and something goes tumbling down. So you kind of have to like jump off your step stool and go in the front. And so I did that one time, knocked over like a half and half and ran out, and this little girl looked up at me and was like, that almost hit me.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry, are you okay? And she said, I'm okay. It just almost hit me. It didn't actually hit me. So, okay, good. I'm so glad. And then I just kind of started chatting with her. She was so cute and like so eager to talk to just this random person. And halfway through the conversation, she turned to her dad and was like, "Can I ask her what her name is?" And he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And she was like, "What is your name?" And I said, "Oh, it's Francie. What's your name?" And she said, "My name is Jimena." And we just had this whole conversation. And then I was like, "Okay, well, it was lovely chatting with you. I've got to go back into my behind the milk now." She's like, "Okay, goodbye." And then just like ran away with her dad. But it was so cute. I love when kids come in and they're just like want to talk to you.
That's so cute.
It's awesome.
Hey, Dad, can I ask her her name?
No, get away from her. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's adorable. I mean, stranger danger, you know.
Yeah, there you
she
go.
wanted she wanted to make sure that it was okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't exist in Trader Joe's.
I
That's a
mean,
safe space.
It should be.
Yeah. At my Trader Joe's it is.
Like, I will beat anyone
Make
up.
sure of it.
My gosh.
Oh, I love that. So we actually recently found out you're a little TikTok famous.
Oh,
Yeah, what the heck?
Just a little TikTok famous.
my dad is TikTok famous.
I mean, you made the content.
I did. Yeah.
Do you already know what we're referring to?
Yes, I do. It's the only one that's done really well.
So we're gonna pull it up and we're gonna watch it.
no.
Kev will insert it in post as we watch it.
Yes.
Well,
that. So I grabbed my chalk markers, forgot the green one. Went outside, started drawing some fish on there, tried to avoid being in the frame, but ultimately failed. And then I was like, add some bubbles.
you have such a TikTok voice.
You do, absolutely.
That was
And then I
intentional.
decided on
Yeah, I knew what worked.
Plant just to spice things up, show my artistic abilities. And then I went inside.
Your
He
dad's
decided on
face.
making that face when I told him to come outside. Went out the door, walked normally, and then decided to start walking like this. And leaned down to look at it because he's a dad, but ultimately, approval from Steve.
Approval from Steve.
His face at the end. Oh my gosh. So I didn't know that this video has nearly 500,000 likes
Wow.
and
How many views?
2.6 million views.
2.6 people have heard your voice and seen your dad go.
Someone told me my voice sounded like Rowley from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and I don't think I'll ever recover.
Oh.
How did you respond when you had such a viral TikTok video?
Well, I mean, naturally, my dad being the star of the show, I was like, okay, this is what works. Like, people in the comments were saying, like, I would die for Steve. Like,
yes,
someone even
yes,
commented,
yes.
does Steve need a girlfriend?
Oh,
Wow.
I was like, no, he's been happily married for like 30 years, but
There you go.
they wanted to be your mom, bro.
so I like my mom.
There you go.
But I was like, okay, I'll just make more content with my dad, and he didn't want me to. He said, you know, that's your generation. I wouldn't cope well with being famous. Which I understand, but he's the only thing that works.
Steve
so.
could have made bank on
Yeah,
TikTok.
Seriously.
absolutely. Yeah,
Wow.
he's a very funny guy. It would have worked, I think.
You have the TikTok voice that you use. You knew exactly what was gonna go back. Was that actually your first post?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How did you feel? I mean, even though it was your dad, like, how did you feel? It was such.
It was crazy.
Or how did you find out that it was going viral? Like, did
Was
you
it
just wake
immediate
up
or did it
and-
go viral later?
No, it was fairly like steady in the climbing up.
Okay.
I mean, it was like a couple days. That
Okay.
It went on. I still get people liking it like every once in a while, but
Interesting.
it was my dad would come into my room like every few hours and be like, "How viral are we?"
behind the scenes of the
We're at
viral TikTok.
1.5 million
viral.
views, Dad. Okay, good. Okay. He
Thumbs
loves
up.
telling his friends about it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was very creative.
Like, yeah.
Is the Tesla fixed now?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, they came through to fix it like a week later. People were really worried that I was drawing on a Tesla, and I was like, it's chalk. We're gonna be okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we do have. This is basically explain that Graham, but explain that TikTok because you have funny content.
Thank you. Did you watch all of them?
I didn't watch all of them, but
Okay.
maybe I should because I feel like every single one of them we can.
It's really good.
Okay, so the other one I have pulled up is the one. in which it says, I accidentally punched a girl in the face during a basketball game. So we're going to watch that one.
Yes.
You ask me what I'm thinking about. I tell you that I'm thinking about.
You just knock her out. Oh no. I watched this on loop earlier and I still can't stop watching.
I felt
happened?
horrible. So,
But you did it intentionally.
no, I didn't. I swear.
It looks so intentional.
I look back at her too. It was horrible. So I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
At this point, I believe it was 36-0, and we were winning. It was like
Oh
a
gosh.
complete blowout.
Yeah.
So you didn't need to punch
Punch
her.
her in the face is what you were
I
saying.
did not. And so this girl, she was just really doing a fantastic job of like boxing me out.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I was like, I gotta get around this girl. What the heck? Like, how is she? She has physically overpowered me. I need to do something. And so I just kind of like, there's a term in basketball called swimming, where you kind of, you swim around someone.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, you're kind of strategic about the way you move your body and so you can get in front of someone.
Okay.
And I was in the process of starting to swim and just, I think I did it wrong. Because completely backhanded and punched this girl in the face and she fell over. And I went running back down the court and she came back down a little bit later and she was guarding me and I was like, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? And she just was like, oh, I'm fine. You're good. No worries.
Wow.
What?
Like it's happened before.
Kudos to you for apologizing.
Oh, I felt horrible. I mean, it was a solid hit.
Yeah.
I have that video on my phone.
She goes full. It looks so, in the video, it looks really intentional. It looks like you were literally just like throwing her down.
It wasn't. It sure does look
But
like
the way
it.
you look back at it, it's
Just
so
kind of like,
funny.
well, can't really do anything.
Oh my gosh. So if you guys haven't already, by these two videos, go follow Francie
Oh
on
boy.
TikTok
Yes.
is it Frank the Tank?
Frank the Tank, but with a
With C.
C. Yeah.
Follow her on TikTok. Totally worth the follow.
And our last little fun fact. I'm gonna just say some details, and then you can paint the story, like paint the picture.
You can fill in the details.
Yes. So all I'm gonna say is VBS letters lizard. How do you connect those? What happened there?
Exactly what you're talking about. But I know exactly who you spoke to. Shout out to Catherine Lamerson. So I was helping Kat with VBS. She
Okay.
is at our parish, the queen of VBS. And we had this camper. Let's say his name is Jimmy.
Okay.
And
Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Jimmy caught a lizard on the first day of VBS.
Good.
It was in the toilet.
Oh.
Don't know how it got there.
I was
but
going to
it
give him
there.
kudos on being able to catch it, but I guess it was kind of enclosed.
You will be able to give him kudos later.
Okay.
So little Jimmy caught a lizard, and Kat was like, this kid won't get rid of this lizard. He said he's going to bring it home. I was like, yeah, that's not great. This kid's gluten-free. Like, there's no way his parents are going to be okay with a lizard coming home.
It's gluten free.
And so I took him aside and I said, hey, can I just have a conversation with the lizard? He said, okay. So I take the lizard, release the lizard where he cannot see me, and I go back and I'm like, all right, so here's the deal. I talked to the lizard, very nice guy. He's got a wife and kids. He's got to go home to his family. And so he can't go to your house because how is he going to find his way back? You know, he's got to hang out with his family.
Very rational thinking.
But he's going to leave you clues every single day of VBS. So if you catch him again, he said you can bring him home.
Oh.
That's the deal.
Bold choice, I will say.
Yeah. He proceeded to catch another lizard every day.
No.
Kudos to Jimmy.
Dude, this kid was an animal. And I had to be like, no, that's his brother. That's his sister-in-law. That's not him.
They need to stay.
You see, he looks different. And at the end of the week, I was like, okay, I can't leave this kid with nothing. I actually, at one point, the clue was I'm going to be where Miss Cat is at all times. So you just followed her around all day.
Where's my lizard?
And so at the end of the week, I got him a little lizard sticker book. And like wrote like family photo album on it and was like, Mr. Lizard is very sad that you didn't catch him, but he wanted me to give you this, and gave him a little book of lizard stickers.
Sweet.
That's so sweet of you.
Definitely the most elaborate con I've played on a child.
I mean,
But whatever works.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kudos to you
gotta do what you gotta
for
do.
being able to do that, given the fact that he was catching lizards every single day.
I don't know
Yeah.
how
The
it's
creativity
possible.
you had was impeccable.
Thank you.
and also the compassion you have for that child.
The
Some
compassion
adults
you
would just
have-
be like, put the lizard away, like you're not taking it home. And that'd be it,
absolutely.
you know? So,
Like would just be like, no, you can't play with the lizards, like get back there. Like
Yeah.
wouldn't have the patience.
the lengths that you go to.
Well, I was that child.
Hmm.
Like my mom always said that I was very oppositional and defiant. Like you tell me to do one thing,
Love
I'm gonna
that.
do the opposite.
Yeah.
And so I know that just being like, don't do that, it doesn't work
Yeah.
with that kind of kid. Because it wouldn't work on me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, we got to get creative. Like, let's do it.
like give me a reason why I shouldn't do
yeah.
it.
And I had the time. You know, Kat is always on top of things, especially when it comes to VBS.
Yeah.
And so I had responsibilities, and I was doing those things.
You were
but I was
lizard
always
duties.
like, I have the time.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Love that
Nice.
story.
Thank you for sharing that.
Great.
I feel like we got to learn so much more about you
Yes.
through these
To these fun facts.
in these fun stories. All right, so we want to, as always, we've done this for the past few weeks of season. We want to do a challenge of sorts with our guests. We think it's fun, and we are not at all competitive. We are very competitive around here. So,
Absolutely.
what we are playing this week is the Say Anything Challenge. Do you know this one?
I do not.
Do you want to explain it?
You're the master of it. I'm gonna go along with it.
I told Kev how to play right before this. And
Yeah,
he
I was like,
what do you do?
So say anything. All right.
Yeah, okay, so it's literally Say Anything. The way it works is we're going to all be playing together. You can literally say anything. And so it'll go Kev, myself, Francie, back to Kev, and so on. And you say any word. The key is if you repeat a word that someone else says, then you have to put tape on your face. Why do you have to put tape on your face? Because it makes you look funny. That's literally it.
Is it like is it like a category or is it any word?
Any word.
Any word? Okay.
And it will be
All right.
interesting to see how difficult it actually is not to repeat a word that someone else has said.
All right.
We'll have our producer Hal also listen in, so if we forget that a word was said, he can call us out.
Okay. Do we have like a taboo buzzer of sorts?
Like no.
Or is he just going to yell at us?
Trying to find a sound.
we
don't have to have one.
we probably have a sound, maybe. that works.
There we go.
So yeah, it's literally Say Anything, and then we have our tape on deck.
On deck. Yep.
Okay. For sure.
And yeah, you will just put a giant piece of tape on your face
Right.
if you repeat a word that someone else says.
Okay.
I'm kind of nervous. I feel
I'm
like
extremely
Is
nervous
there
So
like
now.
also-
a time limit?
yeah. So you can't take forever. It's got to be like quick.
Okay.
And if you wait too long, that counts as being wrong or like getting out.
Gotcha.
All right.
And then the person who has the most tape on their face at the end loses.
Okay.
And they mean be aggressive with the tape. I don't know. Be creative with it. I
Yes.
guess.
Right.
All right.
Let's do this.
We'll start with Kevin. Oh gosh, I feel like all the words just went away. They're not in my mind anymore.
So anything.
Anything.
Okay.
Right.
Ready? Chair.
Plant.
Shirt.
Cap.
Door.
Pterodactyl.
Computer.
Shoe.
Poop.
Camera.
Tape.
Microphone.
Pee.
Water.
Jackpack.
Hand sanitizer.
Coke.
I said jackpack.
Jackpack.
I meant to say
Jetpack or
back.
I thought you said jetpack.
jackpack?
I gotta hold
Alright,
myself
here you go.
accountable.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
If you're wondering who that is, it's our live studio audience.
We love
That's
it.
beautiful
I
placement.
panicked. All right, I'm just gonna keep this.
Just in case. Okay.
I like
so-
how you're laughing. Was just all I heard. She's crying.
Everything's fine. Okay.
All right, so we'll start with Francie.
Okay.
No. All right.
And it can be. I mean, it can be worse in previous rounds. It just can't be in that round. So like,
Gotcha.
you can say chair again, but yeah.
Okay. Cheesecake.
Water.
Air,
Tartar.
Me.
dirt,
Rose.
Tape.
ring.
Chair.
Light.
I'm gonna hand
That
this
was
back
so
over to you.
fast.
Yeah, you guys really set a speed precedent that I didn't appreciate.
I can't remember any of the words you guys just said.
It's okay.
Me neither.
I'm gonna try to do the.
Everything's gone from my brain.
Nice.
Trying to do.
Is this the same one that some like YouTubers have like they put fish on their face? Like they
It's not
tape
very
like
sticky.
I'm not
Like
sure if
real fish?
yeah,
Wait.
like they tape real fish. Was that that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was dead. It was a dead fish,
Okay.
actually.
Oh, that makes it better.
I'm gonna do an eyebrow.
Nice. Some Nelly.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh, you look like when I slammed the car door into my face.
What? Slam the car door on your face?
My senior year of high school, I opened a car door, but also started getting in at the same time, and like wham, and hit it. I have when my eyebrows grown out like a certain amount, I have a little bald spot.
Oh.
And for my lacrosse pictures senior year, I have a piece of medical tape on my eyebrow. It's horrible.
You have a lot of stories.
Yeah.
So many.
All right.
no idea.
I guess I will start.
Okay.
iPhone,
Water.
Tablet.
MacBook.
Earth.
Curtain? I don't know.
Wow.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Oh. It's all right.
Your eyes like closed.
I know. All right, should I start?
Yeah.
All right, let's mask,
Cone.
Watch.
tripod,
COVID.
Fern.
tablet,
Vaccine.
Obama.
cocaine.
Oh God.
Talking about people now.
I wasn't sure if yours was quick enough, and then I couldn't think of
What
a
did
word.
you say, Kevin?
said-
Chicken?
No, you said Obama and I said
said
McCain.
McCain.
Because I'm like, I don't know why. It just popped into my head.
You know, the word association of like ferns between two ferns, the episode with Obama on it.
Oh, yeah.
I went rogue.
That's
oh
it.
gosh.
That's a great episode.
I literally put it on my eyeball. Okay. Oh, it's me.
Oh, no. Okay.
What?
I know, I'm just like running out of words for some
Yeah.
reason. And it's any
Absolutely
word.
none.
Tiger.
Backpack?
Mango.
Monkey.
Flower?
Cross.
Elephant.
Curtain?
Jetpack.
Nail.
Foot? I don't know if that counted. Yeah. Give me that. Okay.
It's like I was like sticking. It's like literally around your
Right,
eyeball.
right. Like, oh,
Just a little bit.
Oh, a nice little chin strap. Little goatee.
oh wow.
Goatee action.
Well,
Very
I'll
cool.
keep this tape up.
Okay. Starting with Francie.
Cone.
Oh, is it me? I'm so sorry. Should I go again? Oh my gosh.
No, you don't get to go again.
Oh, is it me?
She said go, and I was like, oh, that's a good one. I was like, wow.
I'm just giving you ideas.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let's go. I'll go. Pear.
Mustache.
Pool.
Rap.
Watermelon.
Balloon.
Classic.
Banana.
Sunscreen.
Piano.
Cord.
Backpack.
Guitar.
Wheel.
Trash can.
Door.
Dirt.
Priest.
Light.
Door. Shoot. You said door. All I could think of was door.
I'm really glad that we can say the same word on different rounds. 'cause
Yes, seriously.
I have brought out backpack.
I would have ran out of
Multiple
words
times.
already.
Oh my gosh.
Conan said every round.
Door also has made a couple appearances.
Yeah.
All right. Rosary.
Camera.
Cup.
Cross.
Person.
Cap.
Church.
Cat.
Dog.
Flower.
Flower.
In my mind.
This is a lot harder. I thought
I heard
because
schneeb. That is not a word.
All right. How many pieces of tape do you have?
3.
Oh, I have 3.
of 2,
Okay, we'll do first to 5.
first to 5.
First to 5.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh,
Thank you.
I like it.
Creative.
Getting creative.
Okay.
For the fans. Oh, I messed that one up, so it's my turn.
Yeah.
All right. Pole.
Vacuum.
Hydro flask.
Water.
Parking lot.
Cone.
Granola.
Car.
Door.
Yogurt.
Tesla.
Mac.
Watch.
Closet.
iPhone.
Foot.
Android.
Dirt.
Knee.
Cup.
I don't know. I lost count of I couldn't. How do you keep coming up with new words? I don't know.
I pick a category in my head.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, music. Or
I'm
like
just trying to say the words that we
cars.
said before.
I just don't listen to what other people are saying because that's what throws me off. Yeah.
I feel like I listen too much because then I'm trying to not say what they said.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. If I'm out one more, I lose. Oh, pressure. Okay. Elephant.
Papacy.
Clock.
Monkey.
Rosary.
Hope.
Dog.
Mary.
Bishop.
Cat.
Mop.
Table.
Kitten.
Chair.
Chair. Dang it! In my head, I was like, I'm gonna do chair.
If they say it right before you, you have nothing else.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what I had in mind. Okay.
Another eyebrow.
Another eyebrow here?
Yeah, put on the eyebrow though.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Hey, give me a second.
That's
I have
aesthetic.
no words
for
in
sure.
my brain.
Okay, you got three on Francie.
4.
Four.
One.
Four.
No. 3.
3?
I got 3.
Okay, I got 4.
Okay, I got 3. We just gotta take out Anna.
Whoa.
Yeah, easy.
Whoa.
Let's do this.
As much as I love you,
Feel a little attacked.
this is a competition. Talking to one of the most competitive people on the planet.
I was just like, if you lose, then we win.
Okay.
But we'll see. It will happen. Whatever happens. Oh, it's me. Let's see. Let's go with Africa.
Mask.
Umbrella.
Europe.
Table.
Vent.
Door.
Chair.
Bag.
Backpack.
Tape.
Sticker.
Pig.
Mic.
Camera.
Pear.
iPhone.
Cone.
Dragon fruit.
Shoe.
Oh, you know?
No.
No thoughts, head empty. Okay.
Why
This is
does
my
it feel
4th.
so? It feels like it's farther every time. Okay, so now unless Kevin gets one or gets out,
It's between you
it's
two.
me or Francie.
Oh, no. I
guys
thought you
got
had
it.
4.
I have 3.
Okay, let's go for Kevin now.
Now I feel it.
Let's go for Kevin.
Okay, let's do this.
It feels very weird to have so much tape on my face. It's a little distracting.
Yeah. I'm like,
Feels kind of natural. Feels right.
Can that be your thumbnail, Francie, right now?
exactly. Yeah, there we go. That's it. That has to be it.
Okay. I'm running out of words that exist in the English language.
You can repeat them.
Okay. Oh, it's you.
Oh, it is indeed me. Repeat.
Oh, sorry. That was
Was
your
that the word?
That was my word.
Okay.
We'll start over.
Gotcha.
Repeat.
Cross.
Fern.
Rope.
Rosary.
Camera.
Plant.
Tinsel.
Cord.
Foot.
Tree.
Hydro flask.
Shoe.
Ornament.
iPhone.
Tape.
Camera.
Mac.
Teeth.
Purifier.
Chair.
Hand.
Door.
Door. I was thinking of door, and then you said door.
Door always gets us, bro.
I lost.
Oh my gosh.
I lost.
Yeah.
Victory feels good. I didn't even have to punch anyone in the face for it.
You didn't have to punch anyone in the face for that dub. Let's go.
Nice. That was actually really fun. It was a lot harder than I thought.
Can we get an up close of our faces?
So
Yes.
difficult.
Okay, here. You got
Show it off. Show it off, Francie. Work for us. Work. Work.
Wow.
Voguing. Another thing.
And we got ours.
Gosh, I look so scary.
Look like a Picasso.
I love it.
All right,
Awesome.
let's get detaped.
So thank you, Francie, for playing with us. That was really fun.
That
the Say
was
Anything
super
challenge.
fun, and I took the L.
It was hard.
It's
It was
a difficult game.
I thought it would be a lot easier for some reason.
Yeah,
would
me
totally
too.
recommend playing with your friends and family. That is fun.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
There has to be a consequence though, like the tape.
Oh
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
if there's no consequence, then
Yeah.
what- you
We could
know.
also
For
totally
sure.
play another time and with like a more intense consequence.
Yes.
But no, thank you so much for playing. But we want to get into the core of it now and talk about your faith journey.
Yes, the reason why we do this podcast, we want to dive into your first encounter with Christ, how you grew up in the church, and especially your missionary year. So wherever you want to start, wherever you want to take it, tell us a little bit about your faith journey.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in a Catholic family. Like, it's glaringly obvious because I'm one of 6 kids.
Yes.
So we would go to Mass every Sunday, but that was kind of like the extent of it. Like, that was kind of our whole family. Like, we're Catholic.
Yeah.
We go to Mass every Sunday. And then when I was going into 5th grade, my parents were like, we want at least a couple of our kids to have a Catholic education.
Okay.
Catholic education.
Just a couple of them.
Yeah, it was kind of too late for a few. So the 3 youngest. And so they transferred us to a private Catholic middle school in the area. And I was the most defiant of it. I hated the idea of it. I would actually, 10-year-old me would go into my mom's computer where she had bookmarked potential schools and like delete the bookmarks.
Oh,
Wow.
'Cause I didn't
that's
want-
conniving.
oh yeah, didn't do anything.
10 years old?
But I had a mission, and I didn't like the idea of it. I liked that I could walk to school. I liked that I had friends. You know, it was, my siblings had all gotten there. Like, we all had the same kindergarten teacher. We all had the same 1st grade teacher. It was comfortable. It was what I knew, and I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
But you know, I was 10, so we ended up transferring, and my parents actually told us that we were transferring in public because they thought it would soften the blow a little bit.
Oh.
So we were at
Bold choice.
an ice cream shop in the area called Sweet Retreat. If you've
Oh.
ever been to Sweet Retreat,
Love Sweet Retreat.
Yes.
the original location before it burned down,
Oh.
and
So they're softening it with ice cream as well.
yeah, so we're outside. My tongue is blue. And my parents are like, all right, so you know how we were talking about possibly moving schools? We found the school. We're gonna transfer.
Ooh.
And I lost it. Like, I was so mad. I threw a full-fledged fit in public. Their plan did not work.
Oh no.
Just this time I had ice cream on my hands while I was doing it. And I was so mad. And we ended up going there, and I did not have a great time at that middle school. It was really hard. I was in a class of 18 kids. Like, that was my entire grade.
What?
And so you couldn't really choose your friends. It was like, you have to be amicable with everyone, which
Yeah.
you should
Oh,
be in
gosh.
life. But it's hard when you're like in middle
Middle school,
school,
yeah.
like going through all of the changes that happen in middle school, and you don't get to choose who you're friends with.
Oh my goodness.
But the people that had the biggest impact on me there were the priests. Like, we had a handful of priests there who were fantastic. Like, they were awesome
Nice.
people. One of them, it was a legionary school. So one of them, Father Timothy Lyons, he
Love him. He's
awesome
great.
guy.
Yeah.
He came to my little brother's his birthday party in 2nd grade. And for that party, my mom had cut up PVC pipes for everyone, and everyone made their own marshmallow shooter.
Oh, wow.
And Father Timothy made his own and was just going around like sniping the children. And it was awesome. Like,
Oh my gosh.
my older brothers who
Love
were
that.
in high school were like, this priest is so cool. My brother said, we always like laugh about how my brother was like, I've never seen a priest shoot a kid with a marshmallow before.
We need more priests with marshmallows.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Honestly, in mass, like if they see a
That
kid
would-
not paying attention,
That would have been helpful during COVID too. I know I'm not being serious for those that are taking it
No.
seriously. But it's not sacrilegious, but like communion. Like
yeah. Do you see any
During
of
COVID?
If only.
the pictures of the priests that had like super soakers with
Yeah.
holy water?
Yes,
Baptism?
baptism.
Gotta get creative, you know. But yeah, the priests were really cool. I really loved them. We're still friends with a lot of them.
That's awesome.
And so they were kind of the only redeeming factor there. But I had it in my mind. I was like, okay, I came to the school. All these people are Catholic, but they're kind of rude. And like,
Ooh.
are all Catholic people this rude? Like, I don't like this vibe. It was, I didn't like it. And so I kind of came out of middle school like, I don't really want to be Catholic because everyone who's Catholic is mean. Like, besides the priest, I was like, they just kind of seem mean.
Yeah.
And then when I went to high school, I went to Notre Dame, San Jose, downtown.
Nice.
And I had
Irish?
No, go Regents.
Go read.
We don't chant that at sports games because it sounds too much like rejects. But each class picks their own colors and mascot. So we were the purple and yellow dragons. It's confusing. They used to be the Gremlins, and then the movie came out, so they changed it. It's a whole thing.
Go rejects.
Go Rejects. No one came to our games anyway. But I went to the school, and I had this teacher, my freshman, sophomore year, this religion teacher who was like awesome. She was so cool. She was fun. She was passionate about her faith. And her biggest thing that she drove home was your faith has to be something you choose. It can't be something that's forced on you.
Yeah.
Oh, love that.
And,
Very true.
Later, like in years when I was teaching confirmation, it was like, so many of you are here because your parents are making you be here. Like, this should be your choice. That's the point of confirmation, is you're
parents
choosing
hate
it
hearing that.
for yourself. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They hate it, but it's the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And so she was kind of the person who encouraged me to get confirmed, and I like looked into it and went to the parish my family was at the time. Was like, okay, I'm gonna get confirmed, and I helped because my sister was one of the people helping to teach the class, and so I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with fee, like,
Yeah.
I'll be good. And so that was kind of how it started, and then from there, I started teaching confirmation at that parish, and then the next year I started teaching at another parish as well. And then just kind of like snowballed into like falling in love with the diocese and all the people in it, including Anna and Kevin. I mean, Anna came a little bit later.
I did.
But like, I accredit me being Catholic to Mrs. Mofish. Like she's the coolest. I don't even think she knows that. She works at a different school now. But she was just awesome. And she like, you know, a high population of the school wasn't Catholic. And she was like, I understand that. Like, some of you came here just because of the education. You didn't come here for the faith. However, I'm going to teach it because that's why we're here in a religion class. Like, I'm going to teach you about the Catholic faith.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was awesome. She was amazing at her job.
Wow.
Yeah.
The impact that she had is incredible. And like, I don't know if you're in contact with her, but you should totally send her at least
I was about to
that
say.
segment.
I should.
And just be like, just listen to this part.
Hello.
Hi, I know you haven't heard from me.
I
But
didn't do a lot of homework in your class, but you changed my life.
Thank you for my faith. I mean, just that in the
for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear how you went from this 10-year-old who was deleting Catholic schools from her mom's bookmarks to a missionary.
Yeah, what the heck?
Like, are they
That
the same
flip.
people? How did we get there?
So my sister did a mission year, actually. She did
Oh,
it with
okay.
a different organization, though.
What did she do it with?
She did it with Regnum Christi Mission Corps,
Okay.
which is Regnum Christi is the bigger organization, which like the Legionaries of Christ are a part of.
Nice.
And so my mom, my dad, and my sister are all members of Regnum Christi. So my sister did that, and she was in the Philippines for a year.
Wow.
She worked at a school in Manila and just like ran there. Regnum Christi has a program called Challenge, so it's like girls' clubs, basically. So
Nice.
her and 2 other women ran that in Manila. And she would always come home and be like, this is so amazing. Or no, she didn't always come home. She came home once. She would talk to me on the phone and be like, this is such an amazing experience. Like, Francie, you should really do it. And I was like, yeah, no, it doesn't really sound like it's for me.
Yeah.
No, thanks. Because she only lived primarily with women.
Oh, okay.
And even though I went to an all-girls high school, I've always, because I have 4 brothers, gotten along with boys like super well.
You
and
also probably had enough of women going to an all-girls
a
high
little bit.
school.
Yeah.
That's true.
I like need like a male presence kind of.
Yeah.
I feel a lot more comfortable when there's a mixture of genders in a room.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, I can't just live with women for a year. Like, that sounds kind of horrible to me. Like, I loved that she did it, but I was like, it's not my thing. I
Yeah.
could never. And so, you know, I did my first year of college, and during that, I was talking to one of my mom's friends, and she was like, oh, yeah, I did a mission year with an organization called NET. I was like, oh, what the heck is that? She was
Yeah.
like, well, they do, their whole thing is they lead retreats. Like, they go around and they lead retreats. And I was like, oh, that kind of sounds like my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of this because I love leading retreats.
Yeah, and you already had tons of experience with it.
Yeah, I would like do it for the diocese as much as I could. And Chris Martisich like was always like, "Hey, Francie, you want to be a retreat leader?"
Jump on this.
Heck yeah, I do. And I just like wasn't happy in college, and I knew that later I wanted to continue college, but my mom was like, "You should take a gap year. Like it could help. Like you never know." Which I'm so blessed that
They're gonna know.
how would they know if you dropped out of school? But I'm so blessed that my parents are like, your educational journey is your own. Like, if you want to go to community college first, save yourself some money, do that. If you want to go to a 4-year, do that. If you want to take a year off, do that. Like, they're so supportive. And so
Your parents sound really, really rad, by the
Seriously.
way. Like,
they're awesome.
like
They're
being
so
encouraging
cool.
every step of the way. And then that's no knock to parents who, encourage their kids to go to college immediately. That's
Right.
no knock.
Yeah.
But to be so supportive of like, hey, your education journey is your own, or like if basically following your own vocation
Yeah.
and encouraging you to
Yeah.
do that is so rad.
Yeah. No, they're awesome. My parents are the coolest. They're like
TikToks can show.
I know. TikTok viral, so.
got some good videos of my mom too. But yeah, they were like, yeah, no, like that sounds kind of fun. And so I kind of started stalking Nat on Instagram and being like, this looks kind of cool. And looking into it, and I found out that they were having because the way they do interviews is they do interview retreat weekends. So they come to a parish in your area, and you do a couple days where you like, they see how you can write a talk, and you pray together. And it happened to be at St. William's. So at my
nice.
parish.
So you're like, this is convenient.
And so I went, and there was one other person there. Shout out to Paolo. He ended up being on net too, and it was just us and a couple of interviewers. And at one point, I was talking to them, and I was like, "Yeah, no, like if you guys get the chance to explore the area a little bit, like you should go to my favorite boba place." And they were like, "Oh, yeah, like we've got time right now. Do you guys want to just like?" We can do part of it there. So we like went over to Boba Bar in downtown.
Interview.
Yeah, at a boba place. One of them, it was his first time having boba, and he was not a fan. He thought it was weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for everyone.
No, it's
The
not.
texture,
But-
the
I
shapes.
love it. But it was super cool, and I was like, okay, I really like these people. Like, they seem awesome. And so I applied and got in and decided to go and ended up in Minnesota.
Wow. So how do they do the placement process of like where, because I know I have a friend who is a youth minister in Bakersfield now, but she did a net missionary year as well. How do they decide where you're going to be doing your retreats? You said you did yours in the Midwest. Like, how does that happen?
So you have a little bit of input in it, like a tiny
You
tiny
like the
bit.
Midwest?
All that I said, no. Well, I'm moving to the Midwest.
You want to share
I'm going to North Dakota.
for college?
For college. I've been told by many coworkers they don't believe me and they think that's a fake place.
It doesn't sound real, but okay.
Wait, North Dakota?
North Dakota.
What's the school again?
It's called the University of Mary. It's in Bismarck.
I mean, what better university
Yeah,
than the University of
seriously.
Mary?
It's true. I'm very excited. But yeah, so I was in the Midwest. My only request was I didn't want to be in California because as much as I love California, I've lived here my whole life. And I wanted to experience something new. And so they have that, and then there's a lot of prayer that goes into it, and they place you on teams. They normally don't send you back to where you're from. However, a lot of people from Minnesota do net, and so it's hard to not have any Minnesotans on what they call the home team.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Yeah. So on my team, we had international missionaries. So we had a chunk of people from Spain, from Mexico, from Ireland, one from Canada, one from the Netherlands.
Oh, rad.
So it was super cool. We had a bunch of international people, and so on my team, our two internationals were one from Spain,
Tomas
Tomas,
Tuesdays.
the star of Tomas Tuesdays, and then Anna Jordan, who's from England.
Oh,
nice.
Who's delightful. And so we had those two internationals, and then myself from California, one other person, Jocelyn from California, she's from SoCal. And then we had Rachel and Liz from Minnesota.
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 That's how many people do I have so far? Me, Tomas, Anna, Liz, Rachel, Jocelyn. And then we had Alex, who was also from California. He's from Turlock, which is like central, I think.
Yeah, I have a friend from Turlock.
Then we had Vincent from Virginia. And then we had Savannah from Illinois. And then, who am I forgetting? Holy cats. Braden from Wisconsin.
Wow.
So it was a hodgepodge of people.
Pretty good mix.
Yeah.
How was the dynamic in you just met these people and now you're doing everything together and probably in stressful situations as well?
It was really hard adjusting because you go through 4 weeks of training and you make friends. You find your group of people, and it's very rare that people from that group are on your team. Because they pay attention to who you're kind of latching on to.
And then they don't put you with them.
They don't put you with them because they don't want you coming in with like pre-existing relationships.
Gotcha.
Because that kind of
Yeah.
is harder to make that relationship with your whole team then.
Gotcha.
And so it was really hard. I actually had a moment of extreme frustration about a week into being on the road when one of my teammates accidentally opened up my film camera and destroyed a whole roll of film from training. And I was like, those were my friends. And now it's gone. And I was very frustrated. But it was a good moment to detach from material things. But it didn't mean that it didn't hurt. It was hard. But it was really difficult. I mean, a lot of prayer went into it, a lot of patience. I mean, some of us clicked right away. The girl who's going to be my roommate next year, Liz, who was on my team, she and I are both the fifth of 6 kids. We both played lacrosse in high school. Everyone would mix us up. They thought we looked very similar. We're just very similar people. And so right away, we just kind of like, we clicked.
Now you're literally going to be roommates together.
We're going to be living together, which is
And
amazing.
they were
roommates. But yeah, it really depended on the people, and so it was hard, but the entire experience itself was completely worthwhile. Like I would never regret doing it, and definitely grew as a person for sure. You told us actually a couple weeks ago that you did through NET, you did hundreds of retreats. My team, because of COVID, we got pulled off the road after 7 months. So it's a 9-month commitment, but for us, we only did 7.
Okay.
My team did the most retreats, and we hit 101.
Wow.
100 retreats. How do you stay spiritually filled?
Yes.
Because like everyone knows, if you've been on a retreat, if you've led a retreat especially, that you are emptying yourself for the sake of teens and young people encountering Christ, and you rely on the Holy Spirit, of course, but like it does drain a lot of energy doing spiritual things such as retreats. How did you do them so constantly, like constantly living in retreat life?
It was hard. I mean, the biggest thing that they kind of drilled into us in training was the importance of personal prayer and like spending time with God every morning. Like have that time by yourself. We also, once a week, we would have a team day. So someone would plan, we would go bowling or something like that, where we like had a little break from ministry and would do something fun together. We also did team prayer every day, which was, we would do like praise and worship together for an hour.
Nice.
So it was like, you had to make sure that you were spiritually filled yourself before you were giving to these teens.
Yeah.
Especially because we were ministering to middle schoolers through high schoolers. And so like, that's a huge spectrum of like
absolutely
different ways you need to minister to people. And so it was definitely like, looking at it, there were a lot of graces from God that were just getting poured out on us. And people in training would always talk about like, you will notice things where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I just want a burger like right now, and then you'll go to your host family and they'll have burgers for dinner. Like you'll have those little things where God's like, okay, they need this to pull through, and they show up.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, going into connecting to that, so with the hundreds of retreats you've done, like what did that teach you about kind of yourself and your relationship with God, and and going on to that, what does that mean when teaching church stuff, teaching kids, we always teach that, it's service, right? Service more than anything. So what is your idea, or what does true service mean to you in terms of the church? Sorry, that's a big question.
Yeah,
so let's take it in parts.
Yeah, kind of two parts.
Yeah, so let's start with, what did you learn about yourself and your relationship with God?
I learned that I absolutely positively cannot do any of it on my own. Anything that happened during retreat, during post-retreat, pre-retreat, during team life, any of it was, even if it was something that I was physically doing, it was because of something that God has given me, whether it's a gift or the patience in that particular moment. It was because I am someone who's naturally very prideful, and I like taking credit when I've done something good. That. Yeah. I know that about myself. And this was an amazing moment to learn, no, a lot of that is God. Wow. He's using you as an instrument, but ultimately all that glory is going to him, or should be going to him.
Wow.
I feel like I needed to hear that.
Yes, I did too. I'm like, wow, that's a good reminder.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It's hard though. It's ridiculously humbling to know that in the grand scheme of things, he's the only one really doing anything.
Because, I think we have the tendencies as humans to, and I think I've talked about this before, but we want control of our lives.
Yes.
More than anything, we want to feel like we have the power to dictate what happens in our lives, and we want we think we know the answer. We think we know what's right. We think we know how things are supposed to pan out in our lives, but to surrender that control and to kind of tell your ego take a seat for a second, and giving it to God and be actually I can't do this unless he works through me. Because our own power, even what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, how oh man, we don't have the energy to do the things we used to. It's no crap, we don't.
Yeah.
God has that. And it's it's so easy to get lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce.
It's so easy to get lost in it and think that I need to do these things out of my own accord, out of my own energy. And then it's telling your pride to sit down and be actually I can only do these things through the energy God gives me, and through how he's working through me and being an instrument of his.
Obviously.
And it's the great thing about doing ministry in a diocese and being in a consistent place for a long amount of time is that a lot of times you get to see the fruits of your labor. You get to reconnect with people and
see the growth
and see the relationship that they have with others and with Christ. But when we were doing these retreats, they could go anywhere from 2 hours to 2 days.
Wow.
And so you have a 4-hour retreat and you leave to go to the next state, you have no idea the impact you've had.
Yeah.
You've done what you can, the rest is in God's hands. And it's hard. It's so hard because you want to see the good that you've done.
You want to see the fruit of your labor.
And seeing the fruit also kind of gives you that motivation and that energy to this is why I do what I do. Yeah. But when you're not seeing it, you have to trust then.
Yeah.
You have to trust that, okay, well, I planted the seed. I did what I could through God working through me, and God's going to do the rest.
Yeah. Yeah. And every once in a while you'd have a retreatant or, even a host family's child do or say something, and he'd be okay, I can keep going, I got this.
Wow.
That's that push that I need.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful,
dude.
That
is really beautiful. Did you take you said you took a year off of school to do this?
Yes.
So one of the things I love about my parents, and it sounds like your parents would agree, is that they say that travel is the best education. Travel and meeting new people, meeting new experiences. Do you think that you learned the knowledge that you learned from this year of traveling and doing these retreats with the ministry, do you think it surpasses anything that you could have learned in that year of sitting in a classroom?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you learn a lot in school, but it's a different type of learning.
Yeah.
And it's, the most important thing should be your relationship with Christ. And so to do something where everything is centered around that can be a punch in the stomach, because you're learning a lot. My old middle school principal would always say, if you pray for patience, God's going to give you an opportunity to be patient.
Yes.
I prayed the litany of humility once, and it came back smack me in the face. Like it.
Great litany.
You know, highly recommend. It works.
It sounds like the bars like a Catholic mixtape or something. I prayed the litany of humility once.
Never again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no,
awesome.
God will give you opportunities to be humble. You pray for something, you will get those opportunities to practice
Absolutely.
Yep.
that which you are asking for.
Was there any instance in that year that you just felt just you're angry or like challenged, or you're just like
Yeah, what was the most difficult part?
like God, why am I in this? Like, why am I doing this?
Probably the most difficult part was team life,
Yeah.
and just my relationships with my teammates, because you are living with 9 other people and eating with 9 other people
Yeah.
and driving around in a 15-passenger van with 9 other people. And it's sometimes you just would like a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's a lot of personalities. Like,
It's a lot.
no
of
knock to your
personalities.
team, because you throw any 9 strangers. I mean, it sounds like an MTV show.
You put people all around the world, all around the
People
country.
stop being polite and start getting real.
Check out
On the road with
Net
Net Ministry.
Ministries. Dude, that would be. I would have watched that.
I would have watched that.
Seriously. And then you have your testimonials. You're looking to the camera and you're like, I can't stand her. I can't do it. God,
She's
please
a
give
child
me.
of God, but oh my goodness.
The
That would
drama,
be
the deadpan looking directly into the camera.
That'd be so good.
Someone's just like crying silently. Just need to go pray.
Hey, Net Ministries, if you ever want to make that a reality, we can produce it.
Hit it up. Hit us up.
We'll
Let's do
produce it for you.
We'll travel.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Great marketing for you guys. I'm just saying, throw it out there.
So within that year, I mean, on the road and just doing all these retreats, does that change your image of service in the church, or how has that impacted your vision of like what true service is in the church?
You know, I think the biggest part of serving anyone is using what you've learned through other experiences. And
Yeah.
so I definitely, at the end of the year, was like, I'm so excited to go back to the Diocese of San Jose. And
missed
be
you.
like, I missed you guys too. And be like, hey, here's a cool idea that we had, like, and sharing that. And also there were things from the Diocese of San Jose that I took with me and like would suggest.
I'm curious.
Like what?
So from a youth minister, my small group leader, my first year going to DYR, so incoming senior year.
Okay.
The icebreaker we did was we were handed a roll of toilet paper and we were told, take what you need to get the job done. And then you would pass it to the next person, and then at the end everyone has a certain number of squares, and then you pass it to the person to your right, and for every square you have to say a fun fact. And so when I had extra time with a small group, I would absolutely do that. I loved that. It was so fun.
Take what you need to get the job done.
Everybody's like, yeah, I'm gonna get all of them. It's like, oh.
And then the fact that you pass it to the right is great too.
Yeah, because you can either set someone up for success or total failure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it was great to know that the things I was learning were gonna help me later in life, just in a practical way, but also, I could bring it and share it with other people.
Of course. Nice.
Yeah.
So I do have a question. We talked before the podcast. I don't know if this was actually on. You said, I hope I don't do too many like Gen Z TikTok isms. And I do have a question, because we were talking about you potentially being our youngest guest, or like our first Gen Z guest. And there's lots of talks about Gen Z versus millennials. It's all crap. Like, you guys you're just I don't know, you're teens being teens.
Yeah.
And like the
Sorry.
people who get personally offended by Gen Z, it's like, come on.
They are children.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you is that, what do you think Gen Z most wants to see from the church? Or like what Gen Z most needs from the church at this time?
Honestly, a big thing is something we already have going for us, and I think that's Pope Francis. I think he's fantastic. I think he's so cool. I think the big, like his encyclical Laudato Si, like talking about like care for God's creation and
Absolutely.
Climate change and all of that, like that is so important, and I'm so glad that he's passionate about that.
Yeah.
I think that it's so important for the church to talk about mental health.
Absolutely.
I think that I think Gen Z, something that I've seen, and honestly a lot of this is through like social media and through TikTok.
Oh, for sure.
Is for the most part, there's a little bit of a divide in Gen Z. Like there's a difference between me and a freshman in high school. I would
yeah.
like
Of
to
course.
think.
yeah.
You're not all grouped in
can't group-
together.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I've been seeing a lot of just like this mentality of find your truth. And I think there
Interesting.
is sort of a mentality, at least developing, that if you find happiness and fulfillment and truth in religion, then other people should support you in that. Something that I think is just so interesting is like modesty culture, which when I was a child was very toxic, very like, you know, protect the other people around you.
It was also like shaming, and even growing up, I'll speak just from my own experience.
Yeah.
Even growing up in the church that I had, Bakersfield tends to be very conservative, and it was very much like shaming young girls, like you need to dress a certain way because you're tempting the boys. It's like the
That's-
boys need to mind their own
Right.
business.
Yeah.
Like if I'm dressing modest, like yes, modest is hottest. Oh my gosh, that just like pinged a memory and just made me like shudder.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, that was really scary. It's the intention behind it is great. I understand that like when you're going to mass, like you know, you maybe shouldn't wear the shortest of things,
Right.
but like also
Yeah.
come as you are. And I think.
Right.
When you have that mentality of like shaming young women into like you're the one tempting men to sin or young boys to sin, it's like
No.
we're not teaching the young boys to like get their own ish together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a problem in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I've seen kind of a switch in that, like, if you are someone who embraces like a modesty culture, like power to you. And I think in the church, something like a mentality that's been lost was the idea behind it is the intention. Like if you are dressing in order to get an inappropriate look from someone, that's different than I feel very liberated and I feel good about myself in this outfit. And it doesn't inhibit my ability to praise the Lord.
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
even like, I mean, they say like, oh, like when girls wear makeup or a lot of makeup, they're like, oh, like why are you doing that? Like, are you doing that for someone else or to get someone's attention? It's like, what if
no.
that makes them feel good about themselves?
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's the same concept. It's
Yeah.
like they're doing that and they feel empowered. They feel confident in the person that God created them to be. Like more power to them.
Right.
Like it's not like, I don't know. I don't like the idea of like, oh, well, it's distracting others from worshiping. It's like, that seems like a them
That's them
problem.
Yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
you problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think that I've seen a lot of people just encouraging others to like, if you are someone who like wants to live in that, you know, like traditional modesty culture, like do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
for
wear
sure.
a maxi dress if you want to. But also there's this understanding that those people in that culture also respect if someone decides not to.
Yeah.
And so I think that a big thing that needs to be seen in the church is just understanding that no one is perfect and that you know, I mean, you hear this all the time, but like only God can judge.
Yeah.
To walk up to another person when they're not hurting anyone by what they're doing and be like, you should cut that out. Even, I don't really know where I'm going with this.
It's okay.
Like to walk up to another person and call them out about something that they're doing, especially when it's not hurting someone else. Well, if it's not hurting someone else, it's hurtful. And you see, like, there's a trend going around now about like people who like say something super judgmental and then like sing this Christian song, you know, because people have experienced that, being like,
Sad.
Jesus loves you, but you shouldn't wear those shorts, you know. And that's the whole thing is unconditional love.
Yeah.
You know,
Preach
like
it.
God doesn't love you any less because you're wearing running shorts instead of basketball shorts.
Absolutely.
He doesn't care. He cares about your soul.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a one more time for the
bars
people
right
in the back.
My gosh. I think that's so interesting because when I picture like if I were asked this question, I would assume like what my answer would be is like, I would expect Gen Z to be like, well, we want a church that practices what they preach.
Yeah.
You know, and just like not only like say it at the pulpit or at mass, but like outside of it, like
lives it
actually live it
out.
out.
Yeah.
You know, is that true?
Oh,
also?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I think any generation needs that. But that's
Absolutely.
the thing is, the generations who have been failed by that, that's how generations work. There's another one coming in, and there's a chance to start that healing and start that, you know, start on that positive path of like, practice what you preach. I mean, it's all the time. You know, if I were telling kids in my small group, like, you should really get along with your siblings, and then I was going and bickering with a teammate in the van, like, it's not, even though they're not seeing that.
Yeah, there's still a hypocrisy there.
Right, exactly. And so really being intentional about the advice that you're giving, you should be following it too. And even in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like going into an environment where you're telling teenage girls, like, you are a gift, you're beautiful, you are unconditionally loved. And then going home and being like, I am garbage, you know? And that's a journey that everyone needs to go on, right?
Yeah.
In accepting yourself and self-love. But like, if you truly believe the things that you're saying, like, say it to yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Wow.
'Cause that's so important.
Self-love, y'all.
I mean, going off what you're saying, is that our next question is, what advice would you give to Gen Z Catholics today?
Your religion isn't previous generations' mistakes. I think the people who have given the church a bad name, you know, and hurt other people aren't the church. Like, they aren't, that's not, you know, WWJD. That's not what Jesus would do.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can be that positive influence. That was, I mean, I would tell myself every day when I was on the road, like, you could be the reason that someone decides that they want to follow this through. You could be the reason that someone feels like they matter today.
Yeah.
And so, you know, don't put half of your energy into it. Put your all into it, because there could be a kid on this retreat who feels so alone, and you could be the difference.
Wow.
You could be the presence of God.
Right.
Presence of
Yeah.
Jesus there.
And I think that's so important, because there are times in my own faith life and working as a youth minister, you kind of, when you see the inside of the church, sometimes it's alarming, to just be very honest.
Yeah.
And
behind the scenes.
when you see the behind the scenes, it's like when you go to Disneyland. I remember, like, just short metaphor, going to Disneyland, we had marching band, we would do the parade, and you'd go backstage, and you would, like, I remember seeing Goofy smoking a cigarette, and I was like,
No, you did not.
oh yeah,
Really?
yeah.
The magic is gone.
Yeah, and they say don't take any photos backstage. You're not allowed to, for a reason, because it ruins the magic.
Yeah.
And I equate working for the church can be like that sometimes. You see the behind the scenes, you see what really goes on,
Yeah.
you see how church leadership handles things sometimes, and it can be very discouraging to be like,
Absolutely.
wow, I remember when especially when I first started as a youth minister, I was like, I expected the church to be better.
Yeah.
I really did, instead of like comparing it to like maybe a corporate career that like, oh well, the church, like, they care about people, they love people, like they would treat people with kindness, right? And then I would see things that would happen, I'm like, dude, we're no different. Like, actually sometimes I think we're worse. Like the hypocrisy that happens. And what I love about what you said is that the church isn't the mistakes that people have made, whether that be abuse scandals that have happened, where the church did not live up to being loving, kind, caring for others, where the church was judgmental and told people that they were going to hell because of who they are. Like, all those things that the church has got wrong, like, that is not how God calls us to live. Right. And like, I need to constantly remind myself of that, because I get so discouraged sometimes. I'm like, I don't know if I'm cut out for it. I don't know if I'm cut out. People would ask me, especially when the abuse scandals really hit the news, 2018, I want to say, like, oh, you work for the Catholic Church. Like, that was the reaction I got from people. It's like, oh, you work for the Catholic Church. And like, it was kind of like, oh, well, you're making a decision to support like abusers and making the decision to support. And it's like, and I had a hard time reconciling that this same church that absolutely, like, church as in like the people in it, I should specify, and the institution, the abuse of power, like, completely destroyed people's lives. Like, I know that wasn't God. I know that that was not a holy moment. None of those were holy moments. But I had a hard time reconciling that the church that saved my life and made me the person I am today and brought these wonderful, loving people in my life that showed me God's love also destroyed people's lives,
Right.
hurt people deeply,
Yeah.
and continues to do so. And so, like, that is such a profound statement. I feel like I'm going to be thinking about that for days. About, like, can you say it one more time? The church isn't
Oh,
the
boy, what did I even
mistakes of
say?
past generations or something like that?
Yeah, the church isn't made up of the mistakes that past generations have made.
Yeah.
It's
like, that's
because
very profound.
that is what the church is about and should be about, is healing.
Yeah.
You know, and
reconciliation.
and reconciliation and forgiveness. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, that
One
was
more
Jesus'
time for the people in the
thing.
bag.
But
Gosh.
it's, you know, those people who feel like, you know, they've gone too far, but it's not possible with God, you know?
Bars.
Seriously.
That's I got nothing.
That's, I know, like, thank you for.
Thank you for
Thanks.
okay. I wanted to, like, I feel like I want to thank you for ministering to us.
Yeah. Things you've said during this podcast have just been so profound.
And they're gonna stick with me
Absolutely.
for a really long time to come. So thank you deeply. I mean, I don't know. When I first met you, I didn't realize you were as young as you were when we first met, which I guess we met when you were 19, probably.
I think.
Yeah,
I think
2019?
I was 19. Yeah,
About
summer of
2020,
2019.
yeah. And so-
2000, baby.
Yeah, and it's like it's incredible because you are mature and wise far beyond your years. When I met you then, and even more so, I can see the growth in you now, past your missionary year, and then maybe the trials and challenges, the trials and challenges that you've gone through. Like, I can see the growth in you, and I can see how the Spirit has lit a fire in your heart and is working through you, because I feel more spiritually filled than I have in a long time, just to be very honest.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad. Thanks, Jesus.
And just giving it up to God. My
Yeah,
gosh.
Look out for St. Francie.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was the year that I did my mission year, I got through it because of the people that I met. Not necessarily even my team, but the people I met on the road. And I had one retreat in particular. It was my favorite retreat.
Yeah.
And it was at this high school in San Antonio, Texas. We spent 2 months in Texas. And it was the juniors at this high school. And there were 300 of them. So they split it up into 2 days. We had 150 one day, 150 the next day.
Wow.
And the first day,
She put on a DYR casually.
it
Yeah.
was, oh my gosh, it was exhausting. The first day, they hated us. They did not like us at all. They thought we weren't funny, which, like, to be fair, some of our jokes, not great. But they weren't really interested in what we had to say, which occasionally we had that. You know, it's like you're ministering to middle schoolers and high schoolers. Not everything you say is going to resonate with them. And so after the first day, going into second day, I was going to have to give the talk. I was horrified. I was so scared. I was like, these 17-year-olds are going to eat me alive, which, why do I care about the opinion of a 17-year-old
It is
doing the
hardworking in
Lord's work?
ministry.
Yeah.
You do, though.
But I
You have
do.
to care. I'm like, oh.
You really do.
Do they like me?
You have to. And I was going into it, and I started the day, and because of the way the timing worked out, I gave the talk before we even went into small groups for the first time. And I was up there, and I was so nervous. I'm someone who loves public speaking. I think it's so fun. And I was shaking in my boots. I was
I mean,
so
150 17-year-olds? Count me out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, no, thank you.
After we spent like 6 hours just being judged by 170 or 150 17-year-olds, it was terrifying. And I went up there and I started, you know, the story that I told at the beginning of it was when I fell in love with basketball. And I talk about how when I was a little kid, I was playing in a game, and I had this habit of, my dad loved it. He loved it. He was my coach. If someone stole the ball from me, or I traveled, or anything negative happened, I would hang my head in the middle of the basketball court and cry.
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of the game.
I thought you were gonna be like, I hit them. I'm like, oh wow.
I didn't expect
I would stand there
that
and cry.
at all. Just in the middle of the court?
For the first 3 years of my basketball career, I would stand in the middle of the court and cry. And my dad would have to pull me out of the game and be like, you need to pull yourself together. This is how the game works. Like, come on. And so And then I would pull myself together and then get back in the game, and then something bad would
Nice.
happen again. It was this horrible cycle. And so I'm telling this story, and I realized, like, halfway through, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're listening to me. Like, they're not online shopping like yesterday. This is weird. And so I, like, kind of got a little more confident in my skin, and one of my teammates was like, yeah, I saw a click for you that they didn't hate you and you felt okay. And I was,
Approval.
I finished the story with, it was, the minute I fell in love with basketball was when this little boy stole the ball out of my hands, and I went to go cry, and then I was filled with, like, this, like, rage. And I was like, wait a second. I can go get him back.
Yeah.
And I ran
Punch him
back
in the
down the
face.
court. I ran back down the court with my fist in the air.
It started from somewhere.
She was, give it back.
Steve was standing there on the sideline like, oh no. He knew he couldn't stop it. And I ran on the court with my fist in the air, and I stopped just inches away from this poor little boy. And I was like, okay, I can't do that. So I, like, put my fist down, and I stole the ball back, and I ran back down the court, and I made a shot.
Nice.
And it was like, it was, from my perspective and the perspective of my teammates, I had given that talk a million times. That was the time I did it the best. Like, it was, and it was because I was comfortable.
Yeah.
And that was just, it ended up being my favorite retreat because I had this girl in my small group who was literally me as a junior in high school.
No.
Of, like, I won't share anything she says because what happens in small group stays in small group.
Of course.
Her name was
respect.
Nina. She was fantastic, the sweetest girl. That sounds really like I'm hyping myself up, but she was delightful. And she just was like me as a junior in high school. And one of her friends on the retreat was like, you are Nina. And I was like, yes, yeah, we've noticed. She was in my small group, and we were like, we're very similar people.
Wow.
And it was so cool because I got to minister to, like, myself. Like, say all the things that I needed to hear as a junior in high school.
Wow.
Because what I was dealing with as a junior in high school, she was also dealing with. And it was like, it was fantastic. It was such a gift that I could basically minister to my younger self.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm still in
amazing.
contact with her. She's fantastic. She's so cool.
Aww.
But that was my favorite retreat of all time. It was things like that kept me going, where it was like, oh my gosh, like, I just got to minister to a younger Francie. But those kinds of things were like the kind of little energy boost that you needed to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I love that. And thank you so much for sharing all these stories. I feel like we
Seriously.
we could talk for hours just to unpack all the stories that you have.
Maybe we need a part 2.
I would
definitely
love
need
a part 2.
I'm not opposed.
So we want to conclude our episode with the segment that we always do, our deep questions segment. So you know the drill. We ask you to pick a number between 1 and 200. We will find a corresponding deep question, ask you that question, and hear your thoughts.
1 in 200?
Yeah, they
Yes.
do get progressively deeper.
Oh, okay.
So do with that what what you want to do with it.
Please.
Let's do 100.
Oh.
Let's go halfway.
Even
All right.
even to 100.
100.
100. Yep. I know my numbers.
Oh.
Interesting.
So number 100 is, what is your biggest irrational fear?
I know exactly what it is,
Oh,
but
wow.
it's not deep at all.
Oh,
Okay,
dude,
that's fine.
doesn't have to be deep.
I have a fear of people touching my feet.
Can we get the cameras back on the wide view so we can see her?
No, the idea of a pedicure horrifies me to no end. I don't know where this stems from. I haven't had any major foot injuries that started this.
Okay.
I don't like when people touch my feet, and I don't know why.
So it's a fear that someone might touch
It's
your
a
feet.
fear. Like, if someone
Wow.
gets close to my feet, I will retract.
Wow.
But every time I tell someone this, which isn't often, they go to touch my feet.
Yeah,
And I'm like-
I was literally looking at your feet like,
No.
like how can I scare her after this?
Gives me the heebie-jeebies. Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
That's a great answer. Can I just say?
Great answer.
I would never have expected that.
There's your deep, Francie.
Yeah, your deep
Never touch
question.
my feet.
I'm glad we talked about your feet on this podcast.
Absolutely.
That's gonna be our clickbait. She talks about her feet.
No clickbait.
No clickbait. Oh no. So where can people connect with you? Where can they follow you? If they wanna get connected.
Yeah. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Try to build that network. I'm just kidding. That was a terrible joke. I thought you
I
were
was like,
serious.
that's fine. Like, that's cool.
I was like, that's not what I expected you to
Oh,
say.
not great.
I'm like, I can
No.
connect. Let's connect.
You can find me on Instagram at Francie_Keller. I think that is the only social media I
You
really
can totally
use.
follow her on
TikTok?
TikTok.
Oh, you can follow me on TikTok. I don't remember what the actual. It's Frank the Tank.
At
Yes.
Frank the Tank with a C. So FRANC.
Is Tank with a C?
No,
No.
take us with a K.
I should know this.
Yeah,
It's
it's
my
okay. It's
account.
okay. We have you
I get
pulled up
locked out.
at Frank the Tank. FRANCTHETANK.
Yeah.
That'll be in the description as well.
I feel like I should explain. That's just what my teammates called me because that became a nickname was Frank, and then Frank the Tank. I plan on joining a roller derby team next year when I'm in college, and that's going to be
What?
my derby name.
Nice.
Frank the
Wait,
Tank.
for real?
Yeah.
That's
Oh my-
really awesome.
Dude, I want to see you play.
Oh, I wanna
that
play
can
so
get really
bad.
aggressive.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Dude, that'd be so much fun to see.
that would be really fun.
I'm excited.
I think you do so well, too.
Thank you.
But then
that
you would
raw
like
aggression.
apologize afterwards.
At least after
I'd
the...
bake the other team cookies.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry for wrecking you
Yeah.
on the court. Rink.
You play on a rink.
Rink.
Yeah.
Wrecking you on the rink.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Francie, for being on our podcast. We thoroughly enjoyed having you on, and I mean, we'd be open to having you on again to just
Dude,
continue these
for
stories.
real.
Oh, I'd be so down.
This is, I mean, I always say our latest episode is my new favorite episode, but totally true. This was funny, heartwarming. Gosh, it was like a tearjerker movie.
Absolutely.
It's got all the components of a great movie. So thank you for being our movie star this week.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast.
Of course.
It was so fun.
Of course. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. This has been Modern Day Disciples.
Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at MDD Podcast. You could also follow us on Twitter at MDD Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at MDD Media. Make sure to comment below.
Hit that bell so you're notified whenever we post any new content. Happy Sunday.
And get your booty.
To church. Bye. Oh, you're still there?
Yes.
Nice ASMR going on.
Don't touch your feet, guys.
Never. Stay away.
Wait, Francie, can you read the one sticker on your water bottle, the really long one?
Oh yes. Have you ever had a dream that you wish you want you
So
you
you
do so you
could
you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Bye.
Blah, 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 blah.